And we're back. This is the Constitution Line by Line. I'm Paul Fabrizio.
And I'm Don Frazier. Did you see that we got counted in backwards?
I did, and I was...
It was weird.
And I had the thought that maybe I should call myself Don Frazier.
I just want you to present everything backwards.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Madam,
I'm a failure here. Can you?
No. Able as I ever saw Elba. Reads the same way, front and back.
Okay.
So that's how you'd have to do it.
Okay, well, you read this backwards. All right. Article 1, Section 3, Clause 6, Trials of Impeachment.
Now, this is going to get some attention.
The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. That implies there's more than one, by the way, but we'll talk about that later.
Well, that's impeachment of the president,
and
justices, et cetera, et cetera.
Cabinet members, whatever.
Absolutely. But they're going to try it, so someone has to be impeached first.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So, the Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be an oath or affirmation. They shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not to be taken lightly.
No, this is deadly serious. And we've talked about this when we talked about the House side of impeachment. The House identifies the crimes, if you will.
High crimes and misdemeanors, however defined.
Yes. And then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate is responsible for a political judgment.
But it's a political and not criminal judgment.
Correct. And we'll talk about that in the next part of the Constitution. There's more on impeachment. But what we've got here is the Senate making a decision to kick the person out of office. That is their responsibility. Do you want, in the case of the president, to overturn the results of a national election?
Yeah.
Or if it's a federal judge, do you want to overturn the decision of an earlier Senate that appointed this person to a lifetime?
Because of their advice and consent.
Right.
Which we'll hear about later in the Constitution.
Yes. So it is actually a really big deal. It does not happen much. I think there has been less than 20 total impeachment trials in American history. 13 or 14 judges, 2 presidents, and I think that's about it.
Huh, that's interesting. So they don't take it lightly.
No.
So well, it's interesting because I'm in a conversation right now on social media.
Okay. Dangerous place to be.
Well, it is, and we're in interesting times here in the year 2019. And this particular person said, well, you know what? I think that we ought to be able to try and convict on criminal charges the president.
Oh, no.
And I said,
No.
I could give you several examples from Latin America which would point in the opposite direction. And but I think it's interesting. There's so much frustration by some on the political landscape that they would like to see this guy, stood up against the wall and shot, perhaps. So
No.
I don't think we want to get in the middle of that. I think that's how we become a banana republic.
Right.
So I would like to point that out, that this is fraught with political implication.
Right. And I just want to reiterate that, and I think sometimes we forget that this is all about politics.
Yeah, it is about politics. It's not about rule of law. It's about politics or people being above or below the rule of law.
Right.
If they get impeached, if they get thrown out of office, then go after them in the civil courts, whatever, criminal courts, whatever.
Right. And that is why the Department of Justice has this longstanding rule that they do not believe the president can be indicted.
Yeah, correct.
And so, today the Robert Mueller report came out about the investigation of the 2016
that dates this episode,
election.
Man.
Yes. Well, there you go.
It can't be evergreen now. It's the thing about history. You keep spinning through it as you're talking about it, so it's crazy.
But one of the things that came out in the report is the fact that he, as a special counsel, cannot indict the president.
Yeah, correct.
Because that's the rule.
That's the rule.
Yeah. The president, in essence, has to be removed from office first. There has to be a political decision made to get rid of the president as president.
And take him out of that political sphere and put him right back in the same sphere that you and I occupy, which is just being citizens.
Correct.
And then go after him.
Right. So there's an acknowledgement of the importance of the president and also an acknowledgement of the importance of the Senate.
Sure.
That we're going to trust you.
And not the House.
And not the House.
And not all the riffraff.
No, the state legislative riffraff.
Well, these guys all have more skin in the game, I'm telling you.
I keep thinking about state legislators that would like to get rid of people. And so you appoint them to the Senate, send them to Washington.
Send them
They're gone.
That's awesome.
So it's not the best people who go there.
Well,
but anyway,
maybe it's the least effective we need up there. They'll quit passing laws.
There you go. So anyway, what we want to point out that this is just a political process.
Yeah.
And a political decision has to be made. And again, I just go back to when Bill Clinton was impeached and the Senate was having the vote and watching it on TV. And you needed a 2/3 vote per the Constitution.
Yeah, you're never going to build that. Never build that coalition.
And it was not going to happen. But still, the solemnity of the event and the awareness that this was a potential overthrow of a presidential election.
Correct.
That is a huge, huge deal.
And if you can get 2/3,
well, that tells you how bad
that tells you how bad the character is.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of wisdom there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like the system very, very much. The next part of the Constitution is going to go into it a little bit more.
Okay. So that's our line?
That's our line.
All right. That's one more line of the Constitution, line by line, down. We'll be back with the next line of the Constitution in the next episode. Thanks.